My name is George Ramirez, and it is my pleasure tonight to introduce Bill Hale. He is the Director of the Water Department for the City of Lawrence. Bill?
Thank you for having me, boss. Thank you for being here tonight and being able to hear a little bit about my department. So, let's go to the first slide. So I just want to start with my background. So I graduated from Greater Lawrence Tech in 2003. I was in a plumbing shop. I started on the city in 2004. The licenses that I hold are water distribution, grade 4, water treatment, grade 4. I have the sewer collection system operator, grade 4. Also, I'm a certified cross-connection control surveyor and backflow tester. That's with the Department of Environmental Protection. So I have 18 plus years in the water and sewer operations. Most of them were in Lawrence. I did spend 2 years in Somerville as the primary operator. And then I came back as the water and sewer construction supervisor. And now I'm in my current role as the water and sewer commissioner. So in this job, it's you direct, plan, coordinate, supervise all the activities of the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund and anything that pertains under that, which is construction and engineering service, contracts, everything involved with that. Now I'm responsible for the city's wastewater, stormwater, and drinking water system in its entirety. And we ensure the city receives quality drinking water and meet all the guidelines and mandates of the DEP. So our mission statement is we strive to provide the highest quality drinking water and wastewater collection services to our customers. Our top priority is protecting public health and safety, all while maintaining some of the lowest rates in the Commonwealth of Mass. Even though we did just have a rate increase, we're still relatively low compared to other cities around us. We encourage stakeholder involvement and seek to maintain transparency and open channels of communication with all of the customers. So we appreciate any input that we can get from the public. If there's any complaints or suggestions, we take those seriously. This is just an overview of the Lawrence water system. Shows the Tower Hill tank, high pressure service, Prospect Hill tank. We have the Marston Street pumping station that was just redone last year. It's brand new. Andover Street pumping station. We have the 2 Mount Vernon tanks and the water treatment facility with the raw water pumping station. That's where we get the water from the Merrimack River and we pump it up to the reservoir, which is 10 million gallon concrete tank that's underground at that location. It previously was open and it was 44 million gallons. The water treatment plant, we produce an average of 6 million gallons per day. We have about a 16 million gallon per day capacity, but we average 6 million. Water is pumped from the Merrimack River to the treatment plant to begin a series of treatment techniques, including coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, UV disinfection, and chlorine disinfection. The finished water then gets sent to the clear well for a period of time before being pumped to the reservoir and then to our various points of storage throughout the city that we just talked about. So water distribution. So it dates back to 1872. We had the Act to Supply Lawrence with water. That was approved March 8th, 1872. The system was built using mostly cast iron pipes with lead water services going into the homes when it first was being built. Roughly 154 miles of water main, and they're cast iron, and then the newer mains are ductile iron. We have 12,500 water services and roughly 1,250 fire hydrants. And the pictures here, that's Broadway and Water Street. That's one of the old steam shovels they used to use to dig. I believe that was a contractor's. And then these are some various pictures. We have a worker Geo with a 16-inch water gate. Some pictures, 1930 stamped pipe that was from Drake Street on a water main break. and a hydrant that dates back to the early 1900s. That's at Kelly's Furniture. Still there today. These are the views from the water tower. So as you can see, we have the bells from Holland that were imported 1896 to put up there. And then we also have a skyline view of Boston. It's kind of hard to see, but on a clear day, you can get a good picture of Boston through there. And anybody's welcome to come. If you call the department, we can schedule to have a tour of that. On the water division staff, we have 1 supervisor, 2 foremen, and 10 water maintenance operators. So that was just a picture next to Broadway Tire on a water main break in February. And then we had a picture during COVID. We still maintained all operations during those times. This is 4-inch compound water meter, probably early 1900s. We pulled that out of Blakeland Street at Surf Pro. Took about 6 people to get it out, 400 pounds. That's at the water department, 400 Water Street, if anybody wants to see it as well. So the administrative side of things, so we have the backflow testing. There's 3 cross-connection inspectors. They test 1,683 backflow devices that protects the public water system from any back siphonages or backflow conditions. It's mostly for commercial and industrial facilities, lawn irrigation systems, things like that. Water meter readings, we have 2 meter inspectors, and the clerks do about 600 real estate transactions per year. We also investigate high water usage complaints. So if you think that your water bill is high, we can come out and send somebody to the house and check the fixtures and things and make sure you're not using it, more than what you should. So in 2017, when I came back as the construction supervisor, we started a project with lead service removals. So we started with a couple hundred, but we realized that some of the records weren't updated, so we went house to house and we checked them. And we found that some that had already been replaced, but we were able to identify 116. To this day, we did 112 replacements, which was 97% of what we found. So right now, there's only 4 remaining. The council appropriated $300,000 for this work. We did it all in-house. So we will be going for those 4 soon. Just having a hard time getting into some of the homes. So these pictures show that program. Have the lead service being pulled out. You can see the copper starting to come into the hole. That's a 1-inch copper there. Big piece of lead and then a pile of lead. Very heavy material. The Lawrence sewer system, so we have roughly 137 miles of sewer, 41 miles of storm drains, 4 wastewater pumping stations, 4,000 catch basins, 3,500 manholes, and the pipe materials are clay, brick, concrete, and PVC. Sewer division staff, we have 1 supervisor, 1 foreman, and 7 sewer maintenance operators. And that's a picture of one of the operators rebuilding a catch basin, and then we're installing some sewer pipe here. So this was the sewer system evaluation study that we began years ago. So this gives you a good idea of what the insides of the sewers look like and how we identify areas that we can go and fix. We have a lot of grease buildup and broken pipes, which causes infiltration. Rainwater gets into the sewer, which causes some of the flooding in the city. So we clean and line the pipes if we find things like that. As you can see, some of the water pouring in there. So this is just an overview of the study and what we've replaced. The manholes that we've inspected, we did 3,287 out of 3620. So we're 91% complete with that project. So we're just having a hard time on the remaining ones. We have to, they're buried at this moment, so we just have to unbury them so we can get the camera access. So the illicit discharges, This was homes or businesses their sewer pipe was attached into the drainage system. So we identified this by doing testing and along with the camera work. So we were able to rectify 38 of them that we found. There's 100% corrected at this time. And at the bottom, it gives you a total of how many million gallons per year that we were able to polluted water that is not going to be going into the river anymore. It's 44 million gallons per year. So this is some of the sewer main construction. So we just replaced about 4.6 miles. So about the past 7 years. And the water rates. So we just passed the new water rates, and this is just an overview of what's to come. So as you can see, the last rates went into effect in January of 2009. The current water rate's 310. That's per 100 cubic feet. That's 748 gallons. So in the grand scheme of things, it's relatively inexpensive. The sewer rate is $3.35. And it's a little bit higher. We pay a fee to Greater Lawrence Sanitary District. We send all the sewage to North Andover. They treat it at their facility, and we pay them a yearly fee. That's one of our highest expenses in the department. So as you can see, it goes up in small increments. January 1st will be the first effective date. And residents will see an increase averaging about $10.56 on their bill for a single family home. The next increase will be the following July of 2023, and they will expect to see an $11.30 increase per quarter, and then $5.18 at 6 months later, and then at $5.34 6 months later. So we try to do it in increments to reduce, shock of getting a high bill, but overall the rates are pretty low. And this is just a water conservation flyer. They're available online on the city website. Just gives you some ideas of how you can reduce your water usage at your own home to save on your water bill. A lot of people waste water that they don't even realize it, or the toilet might be leaking. So we offer leak detection kits at the water department, along with low flow aerators for their faucets. And we have those available at City Hall. We're located, as I said, 200 Common Street, Suite 204 at City Hall. The main number, 978-620-3110. The business hours for City Hall are 8:30 to 4:30, but we're 24/7 with water and sewer. So anytime that something comes up, you can call the water treatment plant, fire alarm, or if it's an emergency, you call the police department. Some frequently asked questions, where does our water come from? It's the Merrimack River. It starts way up in New Hampshire. Water, comes down Nashua, Manchester, all the way down to Lowell, all the way to Lawrence, and then eventually out to the ocean. So it travels a long way to get here. People always ask, should we filter the water inside our home? That's a personal preference. The water is safe, it's drinkable, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people prefer to treat it, to filter it, but if you let your water run for about 20 seconds to 30 seconds, you'll draw cold water from the street into your home. And that sometimes, people turn their faucet on and want to use the water right away. If you didn't use it all night, it'll heat up. It's a little bit warmer, so you want to draw the fresh cold water in. Why do our streets flood during rainstorms? So most of our sewer system is combined system, so that means the sewer and the drain is going into the same pipe. So when it rains out, it's overtaxed, and then we have the backups. So little by little, we have been separating them. But we do the best we can. We're just maintaining, as long as we maintain and clean them, cleaning the catch basins, we have the truck out all the time. Every day it's out there, so we do about 20 basins a day to clean them, the clamshell truck. And what can we do to prevent flooding? So a typical homeowner can prevent flooding in their area if they notice that there's leaves that are blocking the catch basin. If you just take a rake and get those leaves out of there, most likely the water will go down. You see a lot of times that's the case, we just rake it away and the pool of water will go away. What can we do to prevent sewer from backing up? So we don't want to flush anything that, you know, diapers and things like that that'll go down the drain, and mostly just water needs to go down. As far as flooding in your home, you can install a check valve on the pipe. If you have a basement that always floods out, that's available. So if the water comes back in the reverse direction, the flapper will shut and will prevent the water from going back out. And what is the biggest issue that I've faced in the time working for the city? So I'd probably say the gas emergency was one of the biggest ones. We had a mark out about half the city. We're heavily involved in water shutoffs and coordinating with that. And the other one, I did have another disaster in my time, which was the floods of 2006. So the Arlington district was completely flooded out, and we were pumping out basements like 24/7. So it gives you a lot of respect for the people that work out there, and you know, it's a lot of work to keep up with it, but we get it done. Is there any questions?
So this might be a silly question. Do you remember, I don't know if you called it something else, but what we used to call el pocito, that it was water running like 24/7 and never stopped?
No.
On Main Street.
Main Street?
Margin. It's Margin Street. They call it Mantequilla. That was Margin Street. You know where Hafner's is?
Yeah, it's May on that side.
Ah, yes, Main. So Main
So
Street.
Margin turns into.
Oh, okay, yeah, so Main Street, right there, they used to.
Yeah,
be the
so
small-
that was a spring, so that
Tell me
was.
about that, I never understood what was happening.
So what I know about it is it's a natural spring in the ground, and they had it was on the Hafner's property. So that just constantly flows, but they had to shut it down because the state considers that like a drinking water source. So you would have to maintain weekly tests and sampling and things like that. So just the cost of it wasn't beneficial to them, so they were forced to shut it down.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have more questions, but you go. You go, thank you.
You mentioned the reservoir was open first and now it's underground. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so
And
when
why?
it was first designed, it was 44 million gallons of wide open area, but then over time, with the more restrictions with the EPA and the DEP, they didn't want open body reservoirs just because of contamination can easily get in there. So that's when they redid the 10 million gallon tank in the ground. And we used to have the other half filled with an aerator in it, and unfortunately, we had to drain it due to it becoming considered a dam. So there's regulations with that, so it just wasn't cost effective to keep it filled. And then there was another reservoir that was built 1851, but it no longer exists in Prospect Hill, as well as 1 million gallons that used to feed the mills. So that's buried. It's across from the Prospect Hill Water Tower, but there's homes built on that plot of land.
Those pipes that you have pictures of, and they have like, they were damaged, like how big are they?
So we have ductile iron water main, like as small as 4-inch main, and then we go up to about 30-inch main for the water, and then the sewers, it starts mostly about 6-inch pipe, and it goes up to about 60-inch pipe. So it's pretty significantly bigger for the large sewer mains.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier, you told us a little bit about your story, how you worked for the city for so long and you basically have been in different parts of the process. Like, what are you doing now to create similar opportunities for people in your department or other people that may want to work for your department?
Yeah, so I make training available, so anybody in the department that wants to go for training, they're more than welcome to go. So we've sent numerous people to school, and they're in the process of getting their water distribution licenses. It helps out the department with the more licensed people that we have. We've also sent people to Nets Tractor Trailer School to get their CDL licenses and things like that. So there's always opportunity, and I think it's important to keep that going. There's people that helped me when I was coming up, so I like to continue on with the same. It makes my job a lot easier,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
And the old fire hydrant, is that outside or? where?
Yeah, that's
It's still
outside.
outside?
Yep, so that area of Kelly's Furniture was considered like a community water main. It was owned by the mills. So those aren't city hydrants, but it's still in existence to this
Okay.
day. Any other questions?
I have one last one.
You did.
So during the pandemic, we heard, I saw it on the news a lot, like water testing to learn more about, the levels of COVID in certain neighborhoods. Was that anything that happened in Lawrence? Or do you test the water to measure any kind of issues around public health? Do you collaborate with the hospitals, say, around water testing?
Yeah, so I think mostly what I know about that was that it was more on the sewers that they were worried about. Our water is like awesome.
Yeah, sorry,
So-
not water, you're right, the
The sewer.
sewers, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we didn't, we don't test. That would have been something that may have been done at Greater Lawrence Sanitary District.
Okay,
So
all
that
right,
is a good question.
thanks.
You're welcome.
So, can you give an estimate based on, let's say, a 90 units apartments? How much can a single bedroom apartment get paid for water?
It would be considered probably like a single family home, you're saying, like an
Yes,
apartment?
but as far as, just like a single bedroom, so it's just like, it could be one or two people living in an apartment. Can you like give an estimate on how much they should be paying for water?
I mean, if it's a single person, it's probably gonna be around $30 to $40, depending. It depends on how many showers per day, how much, laundry, things like that. The laundry is huge, and then also dishwashers, things like that, so.
Just a question. Thank you.
You're welcome. All
Great,
right.
thank you.